And where do you sit on the quote that we use often on this podcast, 100% responsibility? So we talk about the power of taking responsibility for every area of your life, even the stuff that you can't control.
Yeah.
When you're preparing for a role, do you relate to that?
I'm a bit of a control freak in certain areas of my life. So I think with acting, though, I think there's a weird side where I think it's important to prepare. I think I've said it before, but then there's also this freedom. And I think I'm an instinctual actor. I think that comes from my theatre background. You know, I think I like to know what the playing field is in the text and whatever, and then just go for it. Whereas I know other actors really like to talk about what's going on in the scene. They want to hit each sort of point, each arc, each graph of the scene or the story. But whereas I kind of don't want to know. I don't want to know what's going to happen. Right. I just want to feel my way through it. And I think that's what's really interesting. And I have a co-star on Outlander who's kind of the opposite of me. And I think it's really interesting to see how it works for different people.
See, that's fascinating, because that's like when we speak to athletes that are in a dressing room and they have some teammates that like to play off the cuff, if you like, and some that want to know what they're going to do at certain moments. So how do you balance those two approaches to make sure the performance is still on point?
Well, I think that's really interesting. And I'm obsessed with sport, and I watch all these American football documentaries. You see them in the dressing rooms, or we were just talking about rugby. I'm a big fan as well. But I mean, dare I say that on set it is kind of like that, because everyone has their own process. So some actors need whatever influence it is. They might need time out on their own. They might need music, or they might need to just shoot the shit with you. You like talk rubbish with each other actors just to make themselves feel comfortable. There's of course a rehearsal process or whatever, but I guess every individual has their own way into it, or their own sort of.
So understanding them is as important as delivering on your own performance, isn't it?
Yeah, and so I think I grew up being very sensitive. For whatever you can read into, for whatever reason that is, maybe my upbringing or whatever, but I'm quite sensitive when I walk in a room. I sort of feel I can gauge what the atmosphere or the tone is, and what certain people's energy is, and I think that maybe might help me as an actor, because in a scene or with other actors, you're responding to what you're getting off of them, and I think being aware to their energy, their vibe means.
I love that, because we spoke to Mauricio Pochettino, the former Tottenham boss. He's now at PSG, just managing Lionel Messi and a few others. And he talks about universal energy. Yeah. So when you meet him, and he just puts his arm around you and he holds on to you for quite a long time, almost an uncomfortable amount of time. So he'll just have his hand here for ages, and then when we got talking, did he say, I feel that by touching someone, I can work out if they've slept well, whether they're happy, which is a really interesting approach, I think, to elite level sport as much as anything else.
Absolutely. I mean, you can read so much. I mean, there's all those acting exercises you do when you're at drama school, or even as a youth theatre, where you staring in the eyes of your counterpart until someone doesn't look away, or you're just holding each other's hands, or even breath work, just breathing together. Like, there's so much, and I think there's so much that human beings read of each other and we play off each other, but we don't even explore. And it's the same in sport, I guess, if your striker is about to do that run or do that, he's going to go, you sense it. There's this herd instinct, I guess.
So let's play a hypothetical that you walk into a room, and it might be a fellow actor you've got to do a scene with, where there is no real connection, or you don't feel that you get on, or you share much common ground, but you've got to deliver this performance. What do you do to create that connection and build those bonds?
Well, it's all fake anyway, isn't it? I mean, TV and
the honesty. That's the honesty we're after, by the way.
I mean, the TV and film, there is definitely a level of it's not real, right? So there is weird. You do have actors that are very technical, and really you don't have to be there. And I've acted to a tennis ball before, and vice versa. Especially green screen stuff we see, big feature films. I did this movie with Vin Diesel, and part of the time it wasn't him, or it's just an animate object. So there is this fake side of it. But also actually interesting though. So this morning I'm working on a new job and we had a read through, and of course now with everything going on, a lot of stuff is done on the internet, on Zoom, and there, I mean, I find you really can't read other people. Yeah. There's this weird lag, and no matter how good the internet is, everyone's frustrated and you can't hear what they're saying, and so you're really not picking up on those human interactions and communications. So it is difficult. But again, I guess that goes back to being an actor. You have to pretend that there is, right?
But I suppose part of the reason I'm asking, Sam, is that there'll be people listening to this that where it isn't fake, they might be going into a classroom or an office where they have to connect with people. And I'm interested in what you've learned in your own career about what does create real connection.
Yeah, so I guess the audition or the interview process, right? You're going for a new job, and I guess that's what actors we do a lot when we audition. And I suppose, I guess I just try and find some sort of connection, whether it's I do it because I'll try and charm them, I guess. I try and build a rapport, whether it's hold their eye or to make a joke or put them at ease. But I guess if you're getting nothing back,
doesn't it come back to responsibility though? Isn't it kind of, if they're not going to take responsibility, you should take responsibility to create a connection?
Yeah, or just take over, right? If they're not going to, then it's your space, right? And I think then you do your thing and then get out of there and forget about it. Because I think that's one thing, if we leave, especially in an interview situation, and God, did I do this? Didn't I do that? You can't do that. You just have to move on. You go and you do your best job and then get out.
So